All right. Welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name is St. Kramer, and I'm always with Brian the Grizzly over here and Brandman Brandon. And we got some special guests. We got Zach Attacks down there and the Coat Lords, Dane and JR. So we'll start off with that with Zach. Hey. Thank you for sharing the stream. Go ahead, Zach. Let us know what.
Thanks, Will, for joining.
Yeah.
My name is Zach. Zach Attack Reviews. Oh, where are you supposed to wait?
No, go for it. No.
Yeah. So I have a YouTube channel. I do movie reviews, reactions, ranking lists, discussions, break down the good and the bad of movies. I'm like a new cinephile, so I'm like making my way through old school movies and new movies, so I can kind of build up my knowledge. And yeah, check me out.
I'm gonna lay some movies on you then, Zach.
Send the list. Send the list.
For real. All right. Who wants to go for the Coat Lords? And then we got JR and we got Dane.
The moderator. Oh, where is he? Oh, he's over here.
Yeah.
My name's JR with the Coat Lords. It's been a pleasure getting to know the Spoiler Kings over the last year. We also do movie reviews, trailer reactions. We talk, comics. We like to have drinks while we do that. So we always pour some sort of new bourbon. And we just put out our Weird Al Yankovic review today. So go check it out.
Yes. By the way, I watched it. Great opening skit. You guys always crush that with the opening skit.
Jared spent weeks learning how to play the ukulele.
I legit laughed out loud when I found out what JR stood for. So that legit.
Did you see it coming though? That was the
big. Did you? Because your reaction was like, I wasn't sure. I'm like, wait, did you not know on the joke?
Well, I needed it's called acting.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
that was pretty good.
And by the way,
might be in the wrong profession.
Exactly. Brandon and Brian, next week we are putting out a review for Scream from '96.
Nice.
The Spoiler Kings are featured heavily throughout that. I promise you. You'll have to see.
All right.
A lot of editing, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Oh boy,
that's that. I gotta watch that.
I can't wait now.
So appreciate you guys coming. So we're gonna get into initial theater reactions, but I want to bring this up. We got a few people in here. We got Profess the Film Fan. Thank you for joining us. He said, "I wish they didn't kill T'Challa. The actor is not the man." I think some of us agree with that. I don't know, but that's definitely gonna be something we're gonna get into a little bit later. But that's definitely kind of the most decisive.
What do you say?
What happened?
Mm-hmm. I think Professor Film Fan was trying to correct his verbiage in the next sentence.
Oh, did he change? I was thinking the character is not the man. Yeah. Oh, I get the actor. Yeah. I know what you meant.
Yeah,
the character. Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But just right off the bat, walking out of this movie, what you guys feel? We'll start off with Zach and kind of loop around.
Oh, I'm first. Yeah. Walking out of the theater, I was kind of blown away. It was better than I expected to be because I watched the trailers and I thought the trailers were really good, but I just didn't get a sense of what the story was going to be, if there was going to be surprises, how the flow of the film was going to be for 2 hours and 45 minutes. And then I realized it's Ryan Coogler and he doesn't know how to make a bad film. And the most surprising was Letitia Wright. A lot of people talking about Angela Bassett and Tanakueta as Namor, but I think Letitia Wright is the one that surprised me the most for this film. And that's all I kept thinking about was her performance.
Okay. And then Coat Lords, you guys did your review. Your whole review is right out of the theater, which is pretty awesome. But just real quick, what are you guys like? Just feelings walking out of the theater?
Go ahead, Dane.
I'm gonna go for it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if anyone's watched their review already, I think everyone here has. I mean, I thought it was I do agree there were some slow parts, but you kind of had to look at the film as like a Shakespearean epic, and that there had to be a lot of setup for certain things. And yes, there was some things you're like, really, they're going to do this now or shove this Imperious Rex in here somewhere. But I mean, I teared up probably. I'm not afraid to admit it. 3 times in that movie. There was a couple of things that are just like, so I gave it high marks. I thought they did an awesome job. I thought they really lived up to the previous film, and they did, give honor to Chadwick for what he represented in the first movie. So high marks all around on my side.
Cool. What about you, JR?
So walking out of the theater, I had to run to the restroom because I did not know this was going to be 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I drank a big Coke with my popcorn. So, but I tell you what, I had a little bit of mixed reviews with it. First of all, I did think it was a little bit too long. I thought Act 1 was very slow, in like Dane saying they're building up to get to Act 3. I get that, but I thought there was a little bit of unnecessary stuff. I told Dane this is going to be blasphemous, and I said I'm not going to say this on camera in our review, but I was cheering.
Save it for us.
I was cheering for Namor and the Talakans in the big fight. I was going, go, Namor. Mm-hmm. I wasn't cheering for the Wakandans because they made all the bad decisions to put them in this position. You know what I mean? And then in the end, they agree to do what Namor had proposed in the very beginning, and they had a lot of loss of life and destruction.
Yeah, but they didn't kill the girl.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I did enjoy the movie. I gave it an 8.4 on a scale of 1 to 10. Dane, I think, gave a 9.5, so he liked it a lot more. But I did like it, and I did like how they've set up the future, and I want to see where they take Namor and where they take Wakanda. How fast are they going to grow T'Challa, young T'Challa? You know what I mean? So TJ, I'm looking forward to all of this. So we'll see.
Yeah. And then, so I'm gonna link all your guys's your reviews. I'll put little cards up top, and I'll make sure that it's in the description. So if you want to check out Zach Attacks and the Cult Lords, their full reviews on all their thoughts, I'll make sure to link that so you can go check that out. But we just did our review here on Spoiler Kings if you're watching live. But we didn't really get the thoughts coming right out of the theater because I wanted to save it. So Brandon, what were your first feelings walking out of seeing Wakanda Forever?
Right out of the theater, I was pretty upset. Just to kind of continue or piggyback off what Dane was saying, I was sobbing throughout this movie. From the second Angela Bassett said, "Your brother has gone to the ancestors." I was a complete mess throughout the movie. Like I said, I knew it was going to be a very joyless experience, and thusly, I felt very joyless throughout. I left the theater very joyless, but that said, it was a very well-made movie, all things considered, that I will probably never watch again.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm next. So I put a Facebook post and I think I reworded it. I worded it wrong. I had to reword it because I didn't walk out of the theater. I think people were saying like, "Oh my God, you didn't even finish. You walked out." I was like, no, I finished. I don't walk out of something I paid for.
I thought you said that too. And I was like, damn.
Yeah. Somebody texts me, he goes, "Damn, you left." I'm like, no. I'm like, oh shit. That's on me. That's on me. No. So I didn't walk out. Of the theater. I walked out at the end of the movie. As I was walking out after the movie was over, I was upset. I was upset. I was mad with some of the things they did. I already knew, no surprise, they weren't going to recast T'Challa. So I went in already knowing that, that's not why I was mad. I was upset with some of the things they decided to do with Ramonda, with the fight, at the end. Like JR, I was right there with you. I was rooting for the Talokans to win. I was like, yeah, like they're protecting their people, and Wakanda's there for revenge, but also kind of like revenge.
Was Wakanda there for revenge?
Yeah. No, they were there because Letitia, right? Or Shuri.
Yeah. Was Shuri there for. Because I want to use their characters' names because that's characters.
Sure,
yeah. But
yeah. It was definitely like Shuri's issue, and that was like the big issue I had, and me and my girlfriend, like I said, we talk a lot about movies and kind of get like a deeper like understanding, like, wait, why do we feel like this? Why do we think like that? And that was the one thing was like when she goes to M'Baku and she's like, I need to kill him, I need to do this, and M'Baku's like, well, that's not what your mother would want, and she goes, my mom's dead, I'm gonna do what I want. So it was like, then what you want is revenge for your mom. Mm-hmm. So if she's dead, then it doesn't matter. But you can't go both ways. Go ahead.
Let me just ask you this question. How much do you think when Shuri became the Black Panther and surprise, surprise, the person she sees in the spiritual world is Killmonger, how much do you think that influenced her in this?
I didn't like that. Well,
And she was surprised to actually see him.
Yeah.
That was totally unexpected. She was like, no. Yeah, you're not supposed to, I'm supposed to be seeing, obviously her brother.
They try to really go hard in the paint with that whole revenge. She wants revenge, and said Killmonger wants revenge. I was like, Killmonger wanted a different revenge than you. There's a big difference between what he wanted and his anger and what she wanted with her anger. Very different.
Killmonger.
And it was cool. I love Michael B. Jordan.
Brian.
That's but I feel like him just being there, I'm like, why? I guess I get why, but that was more for like, I don't know. For me, that didn't quite hit, but and for me, that felt very disrespectful to T'Challa, because he flats out say you can easily put into words and it has the same feeling, but when he was talking about all the family members and when he got to T'Challa, he was like, oh, he's too noble. For me, I was like, man, you just talking shit to her brother in her face. Like I was waiting for him, like, oh, that punk ass T'Challa, he's too noble. I was like,
to be fair, he did.
That's Killmonger.
It's a movie about honoring T'Challa and Chadwick, and you're gonna disrespect him like that in the movie?
I thought that was an honest response because of the way the last movie was. I think that was the big pull in. Is there's a lot of this movie was echoing or reflecting things off of the previous movie that
certain things.
So I think he was just reflecting what because he was kind of frozen in time, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you grow emotionally in the ancestral realm?
No, even when he died, he was still angry when he died. But that's why it should not have been Killmonger. But like I said, Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are attached at the hip. I don't know, man. They got some blood pact going. Like, I'm with you, So I don't know. That didn't hit with me, and I know I'm in the minority with that because people love that scene, love it. So if you do that, I'm not knocking you for it, but just for me, it didn't hit.
It's funny. That's the scene that made me feel like the movie was great.
I know.
Right there
at that moment
for me.
Why, Zach? Tell us why.
Because Killmonger and Chadwick, but T'Challa,
exactly my problem right there.
Are different sides of the coin. They want the same thing, but T'Challa is noble and Killmonger is not. And in the beginning of the movie, she says, "I want to see the world burn." Namor heard that and saw that anger inside of her. And when she went to the ancestral plane, obviously she's not going to see T'Challa because that means they would have to recast him. That wasn't going to happen. And I didn't want any Tupac holograms. So for her to see, if she saw her mother would have been like, just calm down. And that would have made the movie way too calm.
Ramonda was crazy.
Yeah, but she was trying to find the most peaceful way to get her daughter back. She could have sent all the Wakandans down there and just try to murder all of them. If that's what Killmonger would have did, get me back my princess. But she was so angry, and she had the right to be angry. Her father, her brother, and now her mother.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of other Wakandans. And the thing is, it's the Talakans' fault. They attacked first. And she said, hey, calm down. Let's have a peaceful talk. And they came and killed her mother. So she was pissed. So for her to see Killmonger, the one that wants to go for revenge and everything, that's who she wanted to speak to give her the right reason to go and do this. If she would have saw anybody else, they would have told her to calm down.
Yeah. But that leads to another issue I had with it was she's like, I want to see the world burn. Why? Because you're angry. You're angry because somehow your brother died. Like, you're angry because, you know, I get why you're angry because your dad died, but you seemed okay in the last movie with it. So like,
what do you
I
mean?
guess you're over. She was cracking jokes and laughing. And what are those all in the first one? She didn't give a shit about her dad in the first one.
She cracked jokes in this one. I think that people have different responses to
very, very, very serious.
Yeah, not much. There wasn't that much humor in this movie as the first one, but she still did the whole thing with Dominique Thorne's character and everything. She had a few moments like that of levity, but people have different responses. There's people who will go shoot up a place, and the real reason why they're doing it is because their parent or somebody close to them died, and they not in control of it, so they take it out on other people. And I think that's a similar response that she had.
Yeah, I just felt very childish for me. You know, like that's how a child thinks. You know, and I didn't care for that part. Yeah, before I get into the whole Namor, you know, doing what he did, let Brian, because I know you didn't tell us what you thought. So walking out of the theater, what you thought?
So my initial thought was they killed him again, and I thought that was really crazy. How many times have we seen T'Challa die? Not Chadwick. Chadwick died one time. How many times have we seen T'Challa die in the film or on a show? I could not believe that they would do that and put us all through this again. And I had two thoughts. First thing, I thought that for me. And then I thought, I understand why they went this route, because this movie is not made for me. I'm in the comic books. I love the character of T'Challa. I could separate T'Challa from Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman's an incredible actor. Incredible. He did incredible with James Brown. Thurgood Marshall. Like, he's done incredible things. Jackie Robinson. Everything that he's done, he's put his stamp on. He's an incredible actor. He is not T'Challa. He is the actor playing T'Challa. T'Challa, who is not just a warrior, right? Because he's the Black Panther. He is a king. He is probably the most noble person to ever be in the MCU or even Marvel. Not the MCU, because MCU is the movies. In the Marvel, period. This guy is the most epic thing. Because there's not a lot of black characters, guys. They're just not. All right? The one we have, T'Challa, is the best. He is the most noble. He is a leader. He's never with the Avengers, because he's not thinking about being the Avengers. I'm also a king. I think about my people too. I feel like T'Challa is actually a lot more closer to Namor, but he's more noble. And seeing him have to go through the fact that they're just telling me he's dead because the actor's dead. That first scene just kind of shut me down a little bit. I mean, I knew it was coming, so it's not like I was, thrown
off guard.
Yeah, I wasn't unaware. I was unaware. I knew it was coming, but it definitely hurt me a little bit, and I was sad because I definitely didn't want Chadwick to be gone. I was also sad because I know we're not going to get the stories of T'Challa, and no one's going to, because a lot of people don't read the comic books, so they don't know how incredible this man really was, what a type of hero this man really was, and they're not going to know, because if you don't make it into a movie, you don't put it in pictures and have someone act it out, they're not going to go read to find out. And that's kind of the first thing I thought. I was like, this hurts me because of this. And then I thought, it doesn't even matter. After all that we just went through, they're still going to have a T'Challa problem. Because in the ancestral plane, Wakandans don't die. They're always alive, and they're still there. You can still visit them. But they're still going to have that problem. When little TJ comes and becomes a king, he's going to have that problem. You're just kicking the can down the road. You're still going to have the same problem. And eventually, what do? You make him older? You're always going to have that T'Challa problem. And then they're going to recast, and everyone's going to be like, What the hell? You could have done that before.
You don't think they'll pull up Princess Leia in Rogue One?
I was just gonna say that the Tupac
I think that's what they're going to do.
But I think a hologram would be even more disrespectful for a character who's already dead. Like, you've killed him 3 times. I've seen it. I know. So for you to now put that hologram up there, that's too hard. Why wouldn't you just let someone else do the job and not put it out right away? You didn't have to put it out today, because Disney, as we heard in the interview, I don't know if you saw the interview, Disney didn't say we had to rush this out. They said we'll do whatever the hell you want to do. And that's all that was going through my mind. And all that in the same breath, I know I'm taking too long, but also think this movie in itself, the movie wasn't bad. I just hated the direction that they went with the movie. The movie itself was made, it was beautiful, well acted, strong. I like, there are a lot of parts that I like, but the direction, I think, just caused so many more problems. And as I said, there's only one real black character that you're going to be able to really love, and we lost them. And you're going to try, after all that, you're going to try to say, oh, no, don't worry, we didn't really lose him after all. He's right here. He's just 3 now, or 6 now. See, it's not the same. And as I said, you're still having the problem, and you're kicking the can down the road. So,
right. And they actually might have a problem where maybe a lot of no one was kind of stepping into wanted to do the role. You know what I mean? Because those are some big shoes to fill, and they might have had an issue with they couldn't find anybody.
They could have, but they didn't explore it. Because they had in 2 months, they already had the answer.
There were actors that said they would have loved to play it. You know,
I saw a clip where Shaquille O'Neal said he would have loved to have played him. So
that would be funny. I can see him being like an ancestor. That would be kind of cool. But real quick, so Brandon, I know you got to get going, man. Any last words or thoughts to leave us out on before you call it night?
I'd say, just to kind of, branch off of what Brian said. Yeah, I understand why Marvel was kind of in between a rock and a hard place, why Ryan Coogler was in between a rock and a hard place after the unfortunate tragedy. But, they definitely kind of dug an even deeper hole. Chadwick Boseman was very synonymous with the role. And on one hand, I kind of understood why they would not recast him, but at the same times, it just kind of dug an even deeper hole, and I'm not entirely convinced that they thought it through.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. With him barely being in the MCU or not, that's not really what I'm getting at.
Brandon, I have a question for you, Brandon. What did you think about? I have a question for you. What did you think about how they killed T'Challa off screen from a disease? Barely.
It was very on the nose. I might even go as far as saying it was a little too on the nose, but at the same time, I wasn't quite sure how what other way they could have handled it if they were going to insist on killing him off like that. All the other stuff.
Yeah, I thought he should have died in
battle. Other brushes of death he said in
his costume, right?
In a haze of
trying to save Wakanda.
In a haze of
trying to do something to save Wakanda.
Putting his life on the line.
It should have been like a haze of glory, but it was. Yeah. I'm kind of conflicted on that one, man.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah.
It's easy. Just don't kill him.
Don't do it. Don't do it. But that is a question I want to ask everyone in a second. But I'll let you finish. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, they could have just continued on. I don't think it was going to be a dishonor to Chadwick's memory by recasting him. They recast William Hurt.
Yeah.
For that
same reason,
because break stride with that.
There's a lot of story that needs to be told with William Hurt, with Ross, General Ross, who was played by William Hurt. So, anything else, man?
So
before you get going,
That's no. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I thought all things considered, it was very competently put together. It it dealt with, they handled a lot of it with care, with making it one big tribute to Chadwick. I thought that was very well put together. Some of the world building felt kind of obligatory felt especially obligatory in this case. Like Feige just kind of came on set and was like, "Hey Ryan, do this, drop this like reference in there, do this for me. So even though it was very well put together, I will be completely happy if I never watch it again.
So, but cool, man. Cool. But I'm sure we're gonna talk about this for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be one of those things that is gonna be around until part Avatar, like Brian said, gets released. But cool, man, Brandon. Appreciate you stopping by. I know you're busy, had a busy day, all that good stuff. So go get some rest, dude. See you on Thursday.
Good night, man.
All right.
See ya.
Definitely. All right. I'll see you guys.
All right,
Thursday. All right.
Later, man.
Sure you
Nice
take
seeing
that
everyone.
necklace off.
All right. Thank you. All right. Yeah, for sure. I'll talk to you later.
That's what. That's what he's gonna go do. He's gonna go do right now. He's gonna go transform and.
He has work to do, guys. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian.
Wait, you guys have regular jobs? I thought this is all you did.
I'm hoping to get to that point.
Eventually, that'd be nice.
Hey, Brian, I was just thinking they also recast Rhodey, right? Didn't they do
Exactly. Immediately.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
They just recasted Cassie Lang.
Yeah, Cassie
Which one?
Lang. There's been 3 of them. There's been 3 Cassie Langs.
Yeah.
No. Rhodey was more of an actor issue, wasn't it?
That was more of a money issue.
It's a
Money.
I mean,
Was
money
that what it
issue.
is?
Yeah.
All right.
Terrence Howard
Yeah.
wanted to get paid more than Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think Terrence Howard
Yeah.
was the reason why he brought in.
Yeah.
But I mean, but you're also bringing in the main character. I mean, you're still a side character, but you gotta. I don't know.
But I'm not paying you that much money.
That would have been interesting. But that is excuse me, I got burped. Profess the film fan. That is one thing a lot of people are saying. Is T'Challa was barely in the MCU, stuff like that. I think altogether less than 2 hours. I think it was like an hour 45 for all the MCU. Which is insane. He had his own movie.
It's just the first Black Panther he was in there for pretty long.
Yeah. I mean, but he was also in like 2 other movies.
Yeah,
right?
Civil
He was in
War,
Civil War,
and
Infinity War. Yeah. So
Civil War, Infinity War, and
Endgame.
Endgame,
and Black Panther 1. But it is kind of big feel, but there is still a lot of stories to tell, and I hope we get it.
Do you guys understand that Black Panther has 247 comics? It's one of the longest running comics out.
I think since the 60s.
Since the 60s.
Yeah.
Well,
You understand? So
and actually, I mean, and you look at those the Kirby ones, which I think he did like 1 through 17.
Yep.
It's actually pretty interesting because they really set a for lack of a really magical tone in those first because
Dane, doesn't he like go to space to other
battling
planets?
like intergalactic, he's going in time traveling, he's going to another galaxy, and it's all this stuff that
they were first. He was first introduced with in Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. Yeah.
So that's and honestly, he sent them a ship. He was like, hey. They were like, this is amazing. How is it it's levitating over the ground? And it's just the fastest thing ever. It was the ship that we see in the movies right now. So that was super awesome. But
I actually have that first Kirby issue.
I do too.
Cool.
I was reading right before you came on. I was looking at it.
Yeah. So that's really cool. So I know JR asked that question about T'Challa dying. I have an issue with that for sure because I'll start and I'll let you guys kind of go and talk about it after. For me, it reminded me of the Rise of Skywalker when the Emperor came back. And it's like they're like, why did he come back? Somehow he's returned. I was like, what? That's the worst reason. And that was kind of this, but sad, he died. I'm like, how? Like why? You know, like he's the Black Panther.
Stop asking
You know,
questions.
you know, he had the herb, you know, the flower herb, whatever. You know, it's like he's pretty much as strong or stronger than Captain America. You know, it's like y'all fixed, you know, Winter Soldier's mind. You know, like you mess with an Infinity Stone. It was like,
does the flower just all of a sudden go out of the body? I missed this part. I really did, because I thought he took the flower again, right? So
at least twice.
Yeah, so he
at least three times. At least three times.
So if that's the case, why did they need the flower again? Like I didn't understand. I thought that once you have the power of the Black Panther, they stripped it, they gave you the power back, that he wouldn't have to take it again. So why did they need the flower again? How did he get this mysterious disease? It just didn't make sense to me. The more I thought about it, I was like, the flower should still be working, right? Like, did the blip take the flower out of the system? Like, is that what happened? They're just not gonna explain it? I didn't understand that.
That's why they should have had him in costume, and he died saving Wakanda, doing something very noble, and it would have been for me, a more rewarding like death than, oh, he just died off camera a minute ago and we didn't get to see anything, no closure, boom, he's gone.
And so he's dying. He didn't tell anybody, right?
Right.
And then he had this baby, and he told Nakia to keep the baby away from everybody and not tell anybody. And his sister, the person he's most close to in the
you spent the whole movie. You spent the whole movie explaining how important their relationship was.
That is pretty sus, isn't it?
Like, he was alive. Obviously, he was. So after the blip, he was alive to be with the kid and the teacher. Obviously, they had a relationship together,
at least for a year.
So he didn't.
Or at most.
He just out. My most prized person in the world, the person I relate to more than anyone, the one I taught everything that she knows, I'm not going to share it with her. And then if the mother knew, if Ramonda knew, then how come when she went to Haiti and she saw little TJ, why did she not say something? That's her grandson. She said nothing. If she already knew, because they said that she knew. The more you think about it, it starts to unravel. Like, it's like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because at the end they asked, like, did my mom know? Did Ramonda know? And they're like, yeah. And then I think it's hinted at when they first meet Namor on the beach. She's like, oh, I got something to tell you about your brother. And then, you know, it gets, you know, distracted, you know, conveniently. Right. So, but yeah, that was the issue I had. I'm like, I have a newborn. My in-laws and my parents, no way. They will crash through the wall like Kool-Aid Man to see that baby. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna shut up. You're a secret, you know? So I don't know. There was some issues I had with that too. But what about you, Zach?
Yeah, I would say Zach.
In terms of what?
Just the way they handled his death or the funeral, stuff like that.
The funeral was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I loved it. That was one of the couple times that I didn't cry as hard as I thought I was going to cry during this movie, but that was one of the times my eyes watered up. The way they handled his death, I don't think the dying in battle like JR wanted would have worked with how this story was told. Because Shuri's storyline was her battle between her faith and spirituality versus diving into science and running from her grief, and battling with the fact that he died and she's this smart person. She was given these gifts by her gods and couldn't save him with, you know, technology and stuff like that. And I feel like him dying in battle, we can't have that because it wasn't her technology that failed. It would just been somebody killed him.
But you know, even I just want to say, you know, it's not just her technology, because you didn't realize T'Challa's the one who taught her how to do all these things. He is, I mean, when you look at the ranking of the smartest people in the MCU, T'Challa's the top 10 because he is just as smart as Shuri. He's look at
I would say in the comics, but I wouldn't say in the MCU. They didn't give him that high intellectual in the MCU.
But that's what she's saying.
They gave it to Shuri.
But she said he's the one showing me how to do all of it.
Well, yeah. And I think that was a tribute to the comic version of T'Challa.
Yeah, like that's what it was. It was trying to give that respect to understand. We just didn't really. We haven't done anything with that character. We haven't really explored the character. So I guess what you're saying is not wrong.
Yeah.
So
I think
Go
that I think that part was a tribute to him because he died from cancer. No one knew it was something that couldn't be cured, and no one could help. And I'm pretty sure the whole cast felt like that. Like, damn, like I have all these money, star power, resources, and I couldn't help my brother. And I think he wanted that to be reflected in the movie itself, because if it was something like a battle, it would have been straight into like, we need to get revenge for T'Challa, and I don't think that would have been as interesting for me as what they did.
What about you, Dane? How'd you feel about the
well,
death?
we had this conversation, and I actually think that personally, I actually really think it was a great way to represent Chadwick's sickness, just like Zach was saying, and that I thought they really, if they had gone the battle route, it would have led into a whole nother story, and the whole movie would have changed. I kind of felt like they were honoring him in the sense that he is a guy that was suffering for a very long time, and yet he was always coming in and bringing it, and no one had any idea, and it wasn't until the end when he's gone. So I think they kind of felt like, well, we need to represent this on screen to honor the sickness that he was dealing with for so long, and this is the only way they really could do it. From a real world situation, in the sense that Shuri, who has all this intelligence and all that, representing the world's, technology and medicine and everything, they couldn't cure this guy. So it was kind of like symbolic in a very small period of representing Chadwick not getting any, help from,
so Dane and Zach, that's very heartfelt. But I wanted to see Black Panther one more time in action. So I still want the action die in battle kind of.
I mean, I think this movie is really more like a bridge to the next movie. I mean, it kind of felt like, well, we need to finish this off. We got the young kid coming in. He's going to be the new T'Challa. And obviously they're going to continue with the full storyline and everything with that. But that's my personal thought on how this ended.
When is he going to be the new T'Challa? He's so young.
I know.
Yeah. And who's going to teach him?
What? They're just going to jump. I mean, House of Dragon. What do they jump like 16 years? I mean, he's all of a sudden right?
I feel like between Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, it's going to be another time jump, like if you weren't Endgame.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I'll give time.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm gonna
do it because Ant-Man's gonna be trapped in the
quantum
realm, and and that makes sense because he never ages. I mean, he's literally just he looks exact same from Clueless all the way on. So I'm just saying, it makes perfect sense. Just don't have to worry about it.
Makes it real life, yeah. But real quick, I'm gonna, because one thing is like I wanted to see him fight too. I think having him go out in a blaze of glory would have been more honorable than relating a fictional character to a real life character. And I didn't like that. I don't like. It was like projection. This is how Ryan Coogler felt, and he's gonna put it in the film. And I'm not the biggest fan of that when it's a direct like projection is like that. It's like he didn't come to help. Like, yeah, he didn't come to help. Like, why would he go to a director? Like, hey, I got this cancer thing. Well, any ideas? I was like, what I mean? Like he I'm sure Chadwick had his base of comfort. That he wanted to, say, stuff like that, for all we know, he could have like work is work, family's family, and family handles this kind of situation. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I don't know Chadwick. There are people that do. I don't know how close they knew Chadwick. Obviously they knew him, but I don't know how close they were. But I don't know. I mean,
JR and I were talking about this earlier, by the way, today, and there was or over the weekend, and Spike Lee commented on, The Five Bloods, that he was really sick during that. And he was like, I had no idea. The guy was like completely professional. We were doing 9 hours of jungle shooting, in ridiculous weather. And he had no idea that he was, that far gone into his sickness.
Underrated performance, by the way. Check that movie out.
Yeah.
I mean, all his movies, he's amazing. I mean, even 21 Bridges, I thought was good. You know, I think that one a lot of
He
people
was good in 21 Bridges. I don't know 21 Bridges.
yeah,
Well,
that's
hey,
true.
you know, you gotta have an actor bring your movie up to another level, right?
Exactly. But one thing I did want to see Namor kill T'Challa. If you're gonna go that route, I wanted to see that, and you could have done it in a way where it would have been sudden, you know, or very unknowingly. You know, it was like he's fine, and the next thing you know, he's drowning. You know, like, oh my God, his lungs are filled with water. How did that happen? You know what I mean? Like he just got into a fight with this one dude, and now he's suddenly died. There's ways you could have like put it, and I think that would have made Shuri's character angry at the world, angry at somebody, you know, rather than being childish where like you don't, something bad happens, you're like F the world, you know, like I didn't care for that. But you know, I wanted to see him kind of go out in a fight rather than die how he did in real life, you know, because I don't know, I just feel like that's also going against what Chadwick wants. You know, for me, from what I know, from the videos I've seen and stuff like that, you know, for me, Chadwick said in an interview, you know, that this whole, what was it, there can only be one conversation is bad. He goes, that's such a bad thing for actors, and he goes, that's an even more bad thing for black actors. You know, there can only be one. You know, he's like, nah. You know, there can only be one Denzel. I was like, nah. There's other great actors. You know, not just Denzel, not just Idris Elba. Like, there's other. So, you know, I don't know. That's the part that got me disrespectful. Is like, if he's your friend, there's videos that I see who I don't know this man. You're telling me you didn't know what he kind of wanted, you know? But
this is where I say that this movie was not made for Chadwick Boseman. This movie was made for the cast of characters that were left behind. It was not made for me. It's not made for fans of T'Challa. It was made for the people that are left behind that had to. It would have been hard to recast T'Challa. If they would did. I was thinking it would have been wrong if they recast T'Challa and try to do this movie right now. I thought that would have been bad too, because no one would be able to look at him and say, "You are the Black Panther." None of those characters would have been. None of them, those actors could handle that. I think that would have been too hard to ask for someone to do.
Yeah, you could easily put him off world. You know, like, oh shit, he's helping out the Guardians. You know, I don't know, something stupid, and then you know, and then let Shuri be Black Panther. Let it become Black Panther. You know. Or just let him get beat up by Namor, you know, like in the Doom War, you know, where Shuri becomes Black Panther in the comic book. Like let you know him get ambushed, you know, unexpectedly and get beat up, and then him and you know him in I don't know.
Think it was hate now? Imagine they did that. That would be unbelievable. Yeah. If you think it was hate now,
I don't think they want Namor to be that hated. I think they want him to be like a Loki kind of character, and if he would never be forgiven if he was the one to kill T'Challa.
Yeah, it on screen in this movie. Like he might watch out for his life in real life.
Yeah,
you did this because people think that, as I said, they think the actor and the character are the same. That's my biggest problem. The actor and the character are different. Chadwick Boseman died tragically. It's terrible. The character did not. And the character has been around since the 1960s.
Right.
Yeah. You were going to say something, Dane?
I feel like this is a little different. Sorry. You saying something, Dane?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm going to say this situation is very different from Terrence Howard and even William Hurt. William Hurt was a fleeting character in the MCU who never had even less than a side character. I would say Hawkeye is more of a side character. He never had his own movie or anything like that more than William Hurt's character. He was great, you know, even though he didn't really have to flex his acting muscles in what he was doing. He served the job, and I liked him, and I wish to see him as Red Hulk. But he never was attached or in a movie long enough for people to be super attached to him as an audience member or in a casting crew. There's stories of Chadwick Boseman fighting for this character to be not Americanized, which it was supposed to have an English accent. He, like, Kevin Feige and him threatened to quit the MCU if they didn't get this character done right. And I feel like that's kind of the reason why people, if you know these things, why people attach Chadwick to this character, because we wouldn't have the character the way it was if he didn't fight for it. Say, hey, we got to go to Africa, spend some time there so we can actually know what this movie is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
For you to just now replace another actor there, I think I don't think it would have been detrimental.
See, but like you're saying, like how hard he fought for this role, and then now he's gone. So you're like, all right, gone. Like let's move on to something else.
He
Yeah,
fought
like,
hard for the role because
wouldn't you want to keep fighting for that role that he fought for?
I think he
that's
opens
my
up the
thing.
doors for other Black heroes to thrive. I know that you said that
What?
T'Challa is the one, but that's disrespect to all the many Black Marvel characters that we have that are dope. Sam Wilson is Captain America. We have Blue Marvel coming down the pipeline, Patriot, and tons of other Black male and female characters.
Luke Cage. I can't wait for Luke Cage to come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Even bring back Mike Coulter to do that.
I know.
Where's another Blade? Bring Blade back.
Blade, my man's coming out. So
whoever else they're gonna change their skin color. Wonder Man. You know, he's gonna be a Black character now too, even though he's not originally.
See the problem with each one of those characters. Wonder Man, who was in prison, who's American, who's in prison. So that's you're missing that this person is without fault.
That negative Black trope.
Connotation. There's so many things that all the other characters have that this one does not, and there is not another one. I've been looking.
So you don't think having all the wealth in the world in Africa and letting all the other African nations suffer is
Killmonger's point.
But that also was not his choice.
Right.
So we never said T'Chaka was the greatest thing of all time, and we can't let him die. We're like, oh, we can't let T'Chaka. No, it's T'Challa. And the stories that he does, and if you really look at all the stories that we're missing out on, that's what I'm saying. This character, who T'Challa is so essential. And it's especially for someone like me, I feel like I can see myself, my son will be able to see himself and feel like it's okay to be a noble person, to be a person of color. You could be a king, you could be noble, you could be all those things at the same time. You're never going to get that in any other character. You don't get those things.
What about Cap? Sam Wilson's a noble character. He's a leader.
And he's not. He's also not a superhero. He's a dude.
Yeah. But also,
what do you mean?
he's Captain America.
He's not a superhero, and he has to take someone else's title. That's
why he's only Captain America for now. Until they decide to make Bucky. Until they make Bucky Captain America.
I don't think that's gonna
Captain
happen.
America was back again.
It's gonna happen.
It's telling you because it really we talk about him.
But Brian, is there does T'Challa never change character in the comics? For some reason, I thought there was a switch. There was that was almost like an honorific.
There's a lot of different variances of.
Okay, so I mean, the door is it has been open. So I just think they're going to do it in the future. They just didn't want to do it on this movie.
I mean, when we talk about Namor, I'm going to ask.
Yeah, so I'm going to get into.
It's in the comics. It's interesting because he allies himself with Dr. Doom quite a bit. And so are they going to go that route? Because I hear they're going to bring Dr. Doom into the MCU.
He would have been in this movie. Yeah, he would have been in this.
Should have.
Yeah.
Well, and if I'm going to have a beef with this movie, it's the fact that they totally made Namor a sympathetic villain. Like, why don't you just make him a bad guy in this movie? Cut out the whole thing, like seeing the world. Let's just have him do that way. Be the character he was when he first started in the comic books. And then, obviously over time change
him.
They should. I mean, I don't know. They just made him.
I don't know if he was that sympathetic because he still wanted to kill someone for no reason. So,
genocide.
Well, he was the Mexican killmonger.
Hey, bring her to me so I can kill her. I'm sorry, man. It's so bad. I gotta kill her. She know the secret. I gotta kill her. She's too smart. I just gotta kill her. Like what?
Yeah.
It's just, I thought that was pretty fucked up.
So let's so I mean we all have feelings about T'Challa, and that, but Namor, Namor. How did you guys feel? So the more I thought about him, the more I thought about him, I still like him. He is for me the main character of this movie. He is. Everything revolves around him. He is the main character. Badass, but the reason that he did what he did was stupid. It was like, so he's going to kill a little girl, right? Why? Because she made this thing. Okay, but the government owned it. It was found in the government hands. You're telling me they didn't reverse engineer it? They took this 19-year-old girl made and like throw it in the submarine and sink it down there. You know, like you're telling me they didn't reverse engineer it? They didn't figure out how it worked. Make 15 more, like, and she's the only one that could do it again. Like, that's the biggest issue I had with Riri Williams in this. I loved her. I thought she was great. I loved her mech suit at the end, but that was to me poor storytelling. I was like, so the Navy SEALs, like this giant government agency, took her thing that she made for class, right? And didn't reverse engineer it, didn't make more.
No,
you know what I mean?
Never mind the fact that where did they get the vibranium to test?
They have it.
They have vibranium everywhere.
In the first movie, it was on the black market. So
exactly. Claw
museum. Claw had it on the axe.
Yeah.
That's actually vibranium. This is actually
there's a couple of cap shields out there. There's
you know, they had it in the 40s to make cap shields.
Captain America got his whole uniform from it. It's everything.
But to your point, she's just a student at Cambridge. That means what? The government came in and said, "Oh, here's some we have. Go ahead and test it."
Yeah. For me, I think a better part would have been, you could have kept that, but you could have had the teacher on a shitty boat, you know, like out in the ocean testing it. And then like it would have been a little bit more like, oh, she's the only one that has it in her head. Once the government has it, I'm like, they have it. Why? That doesn't make any sense.
I didn't have a problem with that because Riri Williams is on the level of Shuri, Tony Stark, Mr. Fantastic. Like, she is top 5 smartest people ever. And
I mean, but she made it. But now,
but that's what I'm saying. They
it's in somebody else's hands. Yeah, they can. She made it out of junk. You can literally reverse engineer. My point
is, like, remember the whole thing from Iron Man. Tony Stark made this in the cave. With a bunch of scratch, and the smartest people in the world still couldn't figure out how you did it.
Go to Iron Man 2 when they took the armor and then they started making the other armors.
He was able to, he gave them,
but they weren't as good.
Yeah, and
they were made by a bad
once
guy.
their machines start malfunctioning or they need something more advanced, who are they going to turn to? Little 19-year-old Riri. If she's dead, ain't nobody to turn to anymore.
Yeah,
and I think that Namor's point was if you will kill this girl with me, then you'll do the genocide. I think that was more of the point for him to bring Wakanda in to see if they will go across that line. Because he even said it's not even about her anymore.
Yeah, think about Namor's roots. They're from the Aztec culture. That was a brutal culture.
Mm-hmm.
Slaying enemies, sacrifice. So killing a young girl, to them, they don't see that as immoral. If it,
that's another issue I have with the whole Namor character was that whole trope of the Aztecs and Mayans are so savage. Really, they made zero. They made aqueducts. Like, as Europeans were bathing in their own shit, like Aztecs
I'm not saying they were.
But that's a trope that they were doing, and they tried to make him more. They tried to make him savage like that, and I'm like, I don't like that trope. That's constantly going for these ancient Central American Aztec Mayan kind of characters. That's why I didn't like it. He was unreasonable. He was very unreasonable at times. He's like, you help me kill her or I kill you. The same thing, why he killed Ramonda was because at the start, when I first felt with Namor, was he warned her. He warned everybody. He's like, don't do it. Don't push me. But then, he still did it. I was like, I felt like if they didn't want to go that savage route, maybe they could have not killed his mother, especially after telling her the story about his mother dying and stuff like that. So, yeah,
when I say savage, I don't mean like.
No, I know. Like,
I mean, they knew the stars better than anybody. They built these great pyramids, but when you study the Mayan culture, they would kill 10,000 people in a day on an altar just to have the blood run down these canals on the sides of the pyramid, right?
Yeah.
that's pretty savage, man. So
yeah, I mean, but that's all ancient religion. I feel like because
I know.
You can say that.
That's where he's born from. So
500 years old.
If you're gonna, I mean,
that's the problem I had.
The Namor in the comics is not from the Aztecs or the Mayans; they're from the Atlanteans. But if you're gonna change it to Aztec and Mayan culture, well, then borrow from that history. So
I have no problem with any of this stuff. My biggest problem with Namor was that in 500 years, you didn't find a better way to do this. Like you have all the vibranium you want. You have all the stuff, no one bothering you in 500 years, and you couldn't start to have better ideas. Like I just didn't understand that. Like, come on,
right.
They should have had better ideas. He could have had someone, a council, talking to him, and it just didn't make sense to me. Right. I didn't know mutants could live 500 years. I didn't know. I mean, I guess besides Wolverine,
Apocalypse is thousands of years old. Yeah.
And
these guys are the beginning. These are some of the first mutants. So
right. Jared, tell them your Thanos beat.
I was watching some video where they were comparing the powers of Namor to other people in the MCU, and his power was on par with Thanos, but his intelligence was lower than Thanos. And we're talking Namor
because
here.
Thanos is one of the smartest people.
Yeah, but one of the things I had to check, because I read a lot of Submariner comics when I was a kid. That was like one of my favorite, probably top 5 superheroes growing up. And when I watched the movie, in the comics, if he's out of water for a very long time, he simply loses his power, is not as strong, right? He still will have some of his power, but he weakens, is what it doesn't kill him. But here they had it where it was like killing him because he was drying out and he's dying. And I was like, I got to go back and look at the comics. And I think they took a little artistic license in this movie because he doesn't die from lack of water. He just becomes weakened in a weakened state.
He could have just lotioned up. I
know. He was
in a black nation with no lotion.
You there's cocoa butter somewhere, guys.
But can we really complain about artistic license in the MCU?
Yeah.
They've been doing this since the first Captain America and Iron Man. That's all they've been doing. Not one time did Iron Man do the drink in the bottle end of my life storyline. Like they kind of teased it. That's like one of his major things, and they just kind of skipped over it. And that was because Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to do it. So there's going to be tons of things where they take those artistic licenses. The way Captain Marvel went from
Black Adam with no pointed ears there, right?
Yeah, that was stupid. I'm still mad.
I think Dwayne Johnson would have looked stupid with hair and pointed ears.
No, he don't have to have hair. He could have kept the ears. That's
give him that crazy widow peak and do it. Go all out.
I don't need a widow peak.
That Wiggler would have looked crazy.
People would have been able to watch it. Even Black Adam, they would have been like, "What the hell was he doing? What was he wearing?"
Yeah, that's pretty good. But that was the issue I had with like what JR was saying too was the whole water thing. They crash at a beach. I mean, like, come on. I mean, they crash at a beach. It's not like they're like hundreds and hundreds of miles inland. Like, and then on top of that, when they first crash, she lost track of him. And then he comes and takes her out once, takes her out again. You're telling me he couldn't like do a quick dip, okay, like go in.
So much water. Should have been a scene where she's on hold and he's like trying to get there, and she's like jumping on top of him, grabbing his arm. I mean, that never happened, but I mean, he just touches the water. Does he suddenly like regain everything?
Like a sponge.
the big toe.
I don't know.
Right,
like a sponge.
Yeah, like the big toe. Boink.
Yeah. And I laughed in the theater. I was sitting with Dane. Namor's taking
right on my lap, by the way. No.
All this punishment is going on, and then she clips his wings, and he's like, like I laughed out loud. I go, are you serious?
Right. That's probably his most sensitive part.
I was also gonna say
it was Achilles. Like,
Was that what Ryan Coogler said? Like, all right, so imagine you got kicked in the nuts. And go.
And probably no one's ever even strong enough to even tug on him. So he's like, "What is this feeling?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine if your nutsack got chopped off. Go.
There you go.
Every
Well,
time
actually,
in the world felt
point
that.
at the end, they showed it bandage. Is that going to grow back, or I don't know enough about
Or
Namor.
forever. I don't know.
I think so. I mean, right? He has to have the healing stuff, right?
He's gonna go around. He's gonna fly around in circles then, because he only has one.
One-legged. Yeah.
You have a chicken transplant or something. I don't know.
Chicken transplant.
He's got like all normal wings and a giant eagle wing on one foot side of the foot. I made it better.
I upgraded.
Or just tape a hummingbird to the side of his foot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I like.
So he's been around and been a superhero and like one of the world's first mutants. And he's been around for 500-600 years, right? Shuri was Black Panther for like 15 minutes, and she was able to take him. So he's been around for all this time. He's all these battles, all this stuff. He's been a warrior. And 15 minutes. I mean, he's throwing around ships and airplanes, and she becomes Black Panther for 15 minutes. Is like, I got it.
Yeah,
she didn't train like T'Challa.
I've seen that argument, but there's also a thing of when you take that herb, you get and you go to Ancestors Plane, you get all the knowledge and battle skills of everyone previous. So she has the equivalent of him, and also there's a bunch of people that have mad in real life. Like, I've been training forever, and then Brock Lesnar comes and just whoops it behind in 5 minutes.
Now he's the strongest one in the world.
I didn't mind that.
500 years, but
she took the magic juice and she got better. You know, it's the same thing like in Star Wars. Like, oh, why they do that? The Force. You know, it's like it's something easily explained. You know, like. I mean, you might not like it, but you're like, yeah, she took the herb and she's, there you go. She is Black Panther now. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But I don't know. Well, I know we were talking about Namor. What were you guys' thoughts on him? You liked him? Didn't like him? You want to see more? You kind of over it? Why don't you start, Zach, about Namor?
Yeah, I love Namor. I like the character a lot in the comic books, but I always felt like he was lacking something, why he never had a consistent book, or they never could keep him around too long enough. And I think adding the Aztec Latino flavor to him has now put him on another level that he never would have been if it was just like a white dude, or even like, sometimes he looks Asian dude, because we already have Shang-Chi. Even though obviously you can have multiple Asians. I say that, but
can only be one.
I just feel like adding that flavor and making it like separate from Aquaman, because DC, that's the one thing DC did first. I think added and leveled him up a lot more. Namor is conniving, but he's charismatic. That's why he always has sex with Sue Storm in front of Reed Richards. And I can see this Namor doing that because he was talking, and I was like, man, I'm on your side until you said you wanted to kill me and everyone I loved. So yeah, I think that he was great. I understand his reasoning, because he's been trying to do this the peaceful way, the hiding way for 500 years, and he's learned, quite like Killmonger, you just got to wipe all of them out, and we're the only ones left. Because all this hiding, they're going to keep trying. They're going to keep trying. I've been trying for years. They even said it. The Talakans are not moving again. That means they've had to move before because of something like this. So he's like over it. He's like, look, the Wakandas are super powerful. They are about to get invaded like the rest of Africa, because we saw in the the debating area where they were trying to come
at the UN.
They're going to destabilize Wakanda. So he knows what's going on. He probably has spies everywhere. He's like, let's combine together. They can't stop us. We flood them. You come with your ships, blow them up, and we just take over everything. Just Latino and blacks everywhere. And
and all of it would have been fine until he said, "But if you don't, I'm going to kill you."
Yeah, because he's like, it's us or you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because then they're the only threat.
Right there before you was like, look, you either do this or I'm going to kill you.
Because they just ain't going to do nothing.
I don't care who you think you are. I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna listen to you.
You're like halfway in the handshake. You're like, hold on.
Exactly. Wait.
And he's the one villain that says like I'm gonna do something. Like he went to Ramonda and said, if I even see a ship hovering over my water, I'm gonna come to Wakanda and I'm gonna kill you. And that's exactly. They did more than that. They were in there, found where they are, and killed one of their own. He went there and showed him like, yeah, you guys are nothing.
Yeah, like I told you, that was one thing I thought was kind of interesting, but
to lose that fast, that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it was still respectful though, because at the end he's like, "Listen, I told you, I warned you. This is your fault. Bury your dead, mourn your dead, and then let's
queen
let's
now.
start our you're queen now. So let's talk again. Let's get it going." So it was like, all right, I slapped you down. Here's my hand. Let's work together. And obviously Shuri like smacked it and said, "Get the fuck out of my face."
Yeah, I would kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Dane? What are your thoughts about
well, I kind of already said a little bit of there earlier. I think they should have made him a villain. I think he should have been bad from the beginning. They shouldn't have given any backstory. I mean, I think that was one of the drag downs in the movie, was that whole extended sequence where you see the land underneath. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just seemed like he was taken down from a character standpoint by doing that, especially if he's supposed to be kind of the villain in the movie, right?
Okay.
But other than that, I thought it was cool. I do agree with what Zach said. That was one thing that really got explored well, was the whole Mayan Aztec thing, and bringing in somebody from South America to play the character was definitely a plus, because it balanced out a lot of things in the MCU in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. What about you, JR?
So I've actually evolved on this over the past few years.
How much time do we have?
And he took that deep breath. He's like, all right.
I've evolved. Because
TED Talk.
when the very first trailer came out from Comic-Con and we get our very first look at Namor, Dave knows I was pissed off. I was like, who is this guy? This is not Namor. And he's not from Atlantis. And he's got facial hair. He never had facial hair once in the comic books, and he wasn't a Mayan or an Aztec, right? I was pissed off in the very beginning, right? But then, I have time to think about it, and and understand the backstory that they want to create, and I'm on board now. I was totally on board going in. I'm like, like my dad's from Brazil, and to have, the Mayan Aztec kind of influence in there, that's kind of cool. And there's a lot of history behind that stuff too. So, and why it would make sense that, they would be, killed off by disease, moved to the ocean, became powers there, and then wanted to hide for 500 years. And, now I dig Namor's look. I dig his nose piercings and his facial hair and his accent and how he looks, and seeing him walk out of the water, I mean, like, I kind of get some goosebumps looking at that. And so
he came down on the throne. He was just
so I'm totally on board with the transformation of Namor from the comics to the MCU. So there, was that too long there, Dane?
Yeah, I'll go next. I loved it, man. He was my favorite character in this movie by far. I thought going to Talokan and looking at his story was good. I do get like what Dane was saying, like it doesn't make him a full villain because you start to sympathize for him, but I don't think they were trying to go after that. I think I think Zach said, like, they're kind of going for like a Loki, like a bad guy that you kind of want to keep around for a long time and can flip flop at any moment. Like, he could be a good guy, he could be a bad guy. I think that's what they're kind of going for with this character, which I don't mind. I don't mind like a person that like could be in that gray area. You know what I mean? Like, he can bounce over here because they're gonna help it, or they're gonna bounce over here because now they're gonna help. So I liked it, but yeah, I loved the whole look, and I was really afraid too. Like when they first announced it, I'm like, oh, has he got wings? Really? They're gonna put the stupid little wings on? And that first time he comes out of the water, and they start to like a hummingbird, flutter, and he just floats on over. I'm like, okay, that's badass. Like, that's pretty badass.
Always about the presentation.
It is. Like a picture is like one thing. You're like, but then when you see it in action, you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. And that was one thing, him bouncing around, stopping on a dime and then going back. Like, I loved all that. I he was awesome with it, So But that first scene when they introduced the Talokans with the siren song, and then he throws down
that
the.
Was cool.
Oh,
that was cool.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Whoever came up with that needs $1 billion in a raise.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of that.
No,
and that's going to like.
But it makes
too, man.
It makes sense too, just with like being like water creatures and like water creature lore and a bunch of different myths. They have these like the siren songs like that. So I thought that was like super cool. But then at the end of that whole scene, and he's just in the dark sky, and you just see him like, hey, I'm like, all right, like he was a badass. I enjoyed him a lot. Right. So so I really can't wait to see him in some more stuff. I want to see him team up with because I think in the comic books, I could be wrong. I'm not too sure, but Namor is the one that finds Steve Rogers in the ice, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I wonder if they'll cut to something like that. Like at one point, is he gonna swim by and kind of see him? He's like, like, that'd be kind of funny. But
what I want to know if they go. I don't know if you've ever read. I think it's Namor Volume 2, but he actually becomes a CEO of a corporation, and he's always like in business suits and ties. Have you ever seen that, Namor? And in his company, believe it or not, Dane, is called Oracle in the comics. So
what?
Yes. So
that's hilarious.
I wonder if they'll ever go that route.
That sounds like that SNL skit, Caveman Lawyer.
Come
on. With,
that would be a very interesting way to go with it.
Caveman Lawyer.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. But yeah, what about you, Brian? How you like Namor?
I think he's one of my favorite characters in the entire thing. I mean, he was badass. I don't think they made him too much of a hero. I don't think he's that. I think he still could be a villain quickly, especially when they have Wanda go to Latvia and she marries Dr. Doom. And
God,
this is happening. That's happening, guys. Wanda's going to she's going to, after the Multiverse of Madness, she's going to find herself. She's going to forget who she is. She's going to find herself in Latvia. She's going to marry Dr. Doom. It's going to be on create. They want to bring another country out there that's going to be like a world power because they had this smart guy. I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. And you talking about him being the CEO, and because they're still Wakanda's never going to just say yes. We're going to Talokan. We're going to be exactly what you want. He's going to be looking for that. He's going to find that in Latvia, and that's how you're going to get Dr. Doom with him. That's how Namor and Dr. Doom are going to get together. I could see that happening, but in the way they did the character, it makes sense because he's manipulating for his own good always. He ain't worried about them. What about them? Oh, you lost your king. Oh, that's tough. All right. Well, I'm worried about. He's not worried about you. He's doing his own thing. And for 500 years, he worried about his people. He ain't worried about anyone else. He's in everyone's eyes. He's a god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
This is what he is. He's been living for hundreds of years. This dude is different. So I have no problem.
And to piggyback off of that, in the comics, he always picks the side who has the most power at the point. He's never like, I'm a bad guy, I'm a good guy. He's like, I'm a good guy until a bad guy gets too powerful. Then I'm gonna switch over. And then when the good guys get the advantage, I'm gonna hey, no. I was always on your side. I was just, sneaking around. Like that's Namor. And I can see that they established that with the ending of this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure Namor lost the fight. Because more I think about the Namor is like, why fight it? I'm gonna get exactly what I want anyway. Because if she would have tried to kill him, he would have flew out the way like, got the water, gotcha.
Yeah.
He was just trying to lull her because he knows what he's doing. And I just liked him. I enjoyed the underwater scene. I thought that was really cool. I think that's what you do when you want someone to understand your point of view. You let them see your point of view. And I thought that was ingenious, honestly, with that whole thing. So
yeah. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought it was a great world building setup and all that. I just think they kind of diluted him as a villain. You know what I mean? In the sense that he could have been much more powerful in this movie as just straight bad guy without having all that backstory, and then introduce that in the next movie.
Hey, sure.
Now they don't have anything to introduce in the next movie.
Yeah, he goes, "Hey, Shuri, I just met you 15 minutes ago, but here's my mom's bracelet. I want you to have."
Here's the entire.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean that was ridiculous, right?
And then she was like,
Yeah.
"This is exactly what I need to create the Eureka! I got it."
Yeah. 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 Yeah, that was kind of silly. Also, the whole thing with was it him wanting to like come out? It was like everyone was blaming Wakanda already. Just keep killing people, and they're gonna keep blaming Wakanda, and you can still stay hidden. You know, that was like kind of my thing. I was like, there was no real reason why you needed to expose yourself, like because T'Challa exposed like vibranium, like. Maybe, but I mean, how many more years can you live before they start bothering you? You know, so yeah.
He just kept on singing. Just bring everyone. They ain't got to kill anyone. They just could have sang, and everyone would jump off the ships, and they would drown, and he'd be like, "All right,
yeah." Wakanda did it.
We're all good. Just excited for me just now.
Just leave something there, you know, like a Wakanda Forever hat on or something like that. Floating in the water.
Wakanda was here. There's something on
Wakanda was here.
Yeah. Like, I knew because they're all blaming, like, oh, it has to be Wakanda. Like, okay. You know, but the one thing with them, since we're kind of in between Namor and like Wakanda, was I didn't care for the black versus brown. In the first movie we got, you know, black on black. This one we got black versus brown. It's I don't know, it's a trope that's always kind of being done. Hey, what's up, Adam? Yeah, it's about like you said, it's about conflict, but the whole time you have like the, you know, who's it? Val and was it Roth or what's his name? Over there, like if we only had all the vibranium, you know, like I have dreams about that. So I was like, wait, they're the real bad guys.
Like, anyone have a problem with the fact that France decided they were going to try to go to Wakanda?
What is that? Like, what? Them softies?
I was like, aren't they going to give up right here? But no, they're going to
That's when you chose France.
Yes.
Well, and where was Russia and China in that whole little mix-up there? You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
You win that.
Right.
Yeah.
They do it. Yeah.
Shang-Chi and Red Guardian.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You were saying, Tank, you were talking about Valentina, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
Are they setting her up to be like the MCU Amanda Waller or something? And she's because like wasn't she like in Black Widow and Hawkeye recruiting
and a Winter Soldier?
Yeah, she's recruiting, like, you know, I can't think of her name now, but Black Widow's sister.
Yelena.
Yeah. So she's recruiting her. She's recruiting for what? I mean, it seems like she's
Thunderbolt Ross's right-hand woman.
Oh, really? So this is the Thunderbolts then. Okay.
Yeah, when they showed the lineup, she was in it.
So that's why I said earlier. I was saying that all they're setting up the Thunderbolts versus Wakanda, and that's why I think, you know, the untitled Wakanda series that's going to take in 2024. It's going to be the Thunderbolts versus Wakanda.
Oh,
M'Baku as king. And the thing about M'Baku, which is interesting, is that he's never going to take the herb because he doesn't believe in the Jaguar God.
Yeah,
the Panther God. He doesn't believe what Panther Jaguar is saying, but yeah, he doesn't believe in the Panther God.
Hold on now. Yeah,
because you know he's the great ape, so that's what he believes in. So he's never.
Oh no,
you know, he's never going to take that herb. So he's never. Which actually is going to be interesting because the Shuri is living in Haiti, who's the Black Panther, but now they got once again the King and the Black Panther are separate, just like it was when T'Challa and T'Chaka were there.
Yeah,
which I think actually is happens a lot more than we've seen. And then the Shuri's not going to live there, and the Thunderbolts attacking Wakanda is going to have to bring the Black Panther back. But M'Baku can't take the herb if they don't let Letitia Wright come back. What's going to happen? Once again, They have another problem. I mean, they have this movie is full of problems, and I just
I don't think Shuri's gonna live in Haiti. I think she just went to visit Nakia for that ritual, and she's gonna go back.
Well, she said,
maybe.
Remember, there's a place for you in Haiti. So a lot of people are saying that she's going to stay. She's going to walk away from Wakanda for a little bit because there's too many reminders that she needs to heal a little bit, and she's going to stay with and teach the TJ some stuff. So,
but remember, she went out and planted all those flowers again. So who knows who can walk into that and just you know.
But as long as
on T'Challa's grave of all places, so that okay, that's not messed up. So Adam said, I thought Shuri was about to be a bad Black Panther with all the things she's been through. Questionable. I mean, at least in this one, I think she wasn't the greatest Black Panther. You know. She made some decisions. That was another thing. Since we're talking about like other stuff like that, was when I was talking about like projections, you know, like Ryan Coogler projecting onto stuff. There's a few lines in this movie by different people that I looked around and I'm like, really? No one but me? Okay. Like there's a part where right in the beginning, where she's trying to save T'Challa. Or it already happened or something like that. And somebody had asked her about it and she goes, oh, I wasn't trying to save the Black Panther. I was trying to save my brother. And I was like, that's what all this like, you know, recast people were saying is like, the mantle is the mantle, but the person, the brother, T'Challa, the man, like,
we're trying to save T'Challa too, guys.
Shuri wants to save him too. You know, it's like, you know, that's what we want. We all want the same thing. So I thought that was like a little like I looked around and like he literally put recast movement in the movie.
Well, what's the guy who
that's what I took it as.
Who's the other guy that wrote the movie with Coogler? What's his name?
Namor is another, but he's a producer. I don't think he wrote it.
Namor's the producer. He's not the writer.
But the whole thing with Nate Moore, his interview was saying that he doesn't disagree with people that saying recast. And he's like, I understand where you're coming from. You're right. T'Challa has a lot more stories to tell. But we're making a movie because of the way we feel about the man ourselves. And hearing that come out of his mouth, that's once again, I realized this is not about me. This movie is not for someone like me. This is for them, the actors that couldn't get through this, that wouldn't be able to deal with a recast. And it's about, you know, making a story to make it work for them. And giving them closure also. And understanding that, and what Nate Moore saying that kind of just made me realize, okay, it's no need for me to be angry. There's no need for me to be upset about the stuff. This is what they're going to do, what they're going to do. Because this is not Marvel by Brian. This is, you know, it's Marvel, it's MCU, is what they want.
They didn't call you?
Yeah, exactly. I have a quick question about the recast T'Challa thing. Infinity War, right? Great movie, one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. If, God forbid, Robert Downey Jr. would have died in between Infinity War and Endgame, would you have been like recast Robert Downey Jr.?
Tom Cruise.
I'll put Tom Cruise in there in a second. I wouldn't even.
Tom Cruise in a second.
Oh God, no!
He was.
I would be out of tapped out on the MCU if Tom Cruise would have been.
It wouldn't have been the same. But you know what? Eventually, you would have had more stories to tell. And there's a lot more stories you could, but we already got 3 movies of them, so it's not like it didn't.
His arc was done. He was at the end of his journey, you know. So I would have been cool with deep faking it. I would have been cool with like deep faking the rest of Tony Stark's story because we already know it all this stuff. I would have been cool with a deep fake.
Keeping it in the armor because, as I said, he had 3 solo movies.
Or keep him in the armor.
Every single Avengers movie, so he was in like 10 movies. You know, like the main character.
No one in armor. They take the armor off for stupid reasons in these movies.
T'Challa was barely in these movies. You know, that's said 2 hours of film time. So that's it feels like it's like, you know, not the same.
Yeah, you know, I mean, one had a full arc of feelings and everything like that. So I would have been okay if they would have either recast or defaked, you know, or just put the helmet on the whole time and use past footage. You know, I would have been cool with that too. You know, they did that with Leia.
Have you thought about who you would have wanted to be T'Challa if you had to?
John David Washington. For me, perfect. Tenet is one of my favorite movies.
Yep.
His uncle is already freaking Samuel L. Jackson. Like they're like I think it's his godfather or something like that. And then
Aaron, his uncle is Samuel L. Jackson.
No, but I'm just saying, like, but they're like he already got family in it. He was already really close with Chadwick Boseman because of his father. So I think he would have brought respect to Chadwick because he knew him on a personal level. And I don't know. I like John David Washington.
Zach, would that have worked for you?
No, I think John David Washington is overrated.
Oh,
really?
I think he's only had one solid performance, and that was Black Klansman. Everything else I've seen him in, especially recently in Amsterdam, it's just
Amsterdam. That was just a bad movie, though. That's a bad movie.
I actually like that movie.
Really?
I had a good time in the theater, but he was one of the weaker parts.
Did you like Tenet? Did you like Tenet?
Tenet was okay. It was I couldn't hear what everybody was saying for most of the movie.
That is true.
That is so true. Yeah.
With a dialogue heavy movie, that's really bad.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that.
Brian, if I would have recast T'Challa, I probably would have gone with Nick Cannon because that would explain nobody knowing about T'Challa in Haiti.
It would have been one of many.
Oh, no.
T'Challa 2, T'Challa 3,
How do I leave? How do I leave out of here? I gotta go because that took me out. And that's why you guys need to subscribe to the Cult Lords.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
it was like one of those clown cars with T'Challas keep coming out.
The whole Young Avengers team is just a bunch of Nick Cannon babies. Oh.
Yes.
Oh my god! I always believe that there's a lot of really good Black actors that could have done it justice, and wasn't even worried about it. I think you could find a great, strong actor. I mean, Winston Duke, his first job was this damn movie. Was Black Panther. That was his first damn job. And he's amazing. He's probably my favorite character, not named Namor. I mean, literally out of all the stuff. Like, I feel like his presence was stronger than Shuri's. And that's another problem I had of that. I thought his presence was stronger. He could carry a movie. And he was very regal. Man, I think there's a little bit written into it. A little bit. But my point is still that there's so many guys that you could have given a chance to really do that. And but you didn't have to rush,
right?
You didn't take 5 years.
You know, Brian, you couldn't have cast this guy as T'Challa because Jonathan Majors is going to be Kang. But Dana and I were sitting in the theater. We were sitting in the theater, and 3 trailers in a row had Jonathan Majors. We were like, okay, there's Devotion. What was the other one that we saw?
Creed 3.
Creed
3. He was in there with
Ant-Man.
Jordan.
Now he's gonna be Kang.
Now he's gonna be Kang. And I was like, I said to Dane, I whispered in his ear as the movie started, I go, we're gonna have to get to know who this Jonathan Majors guy is because
The Harder They Fall. Harder They Fall is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. Even before that, The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Oh,
yeah.
Go watch him in that. That's my first introduction to him.
I've never seen that, Zach. I've never seen that.
So, literally,
A24.
Yeah, that's right. Holy shit. We were just talking about how A24 puts out some crazy
my favorite production studio. Their label is on it. I'm watching it.
Yeah, definitely that. The Harder They Fall, that's on Netflix. I don't know where would you be able to watch The Last Black Man in San Francisco?
I think it's on Showtime. I think it's on Paramount Plus because all the
Paramount Plus. It's one of those. I cannot think what it is, but it is.
If they had to recast T'Challa, the only person I would have accepted, even though I didn't want him to be recasted, is Aldous Hodge. I think that
I like that too.
He's a fantastic actor.
Aldous Hodge.
I think that he would have did a great job as this character. I wanted Jonathan Majors to play his own thing. I didn't want him to have that legacy of trying to compare himself. But I think Aldous Hodge is experienced enough, but unknown enough that this would have been a great opportunity for him. I like him as Hawkman. I think He did a great job as Hawkman and Black Adam, and I want to see more of him. But he would have been a fantastic T'Challa.
Okay, hold on. This is how I felt right now. Honestly, I honestly feel that way. Honestly, Aldous Hodge
he's awesome.
is such a good one, and he's the problem with Aldous Hodge is he's too big.
What do you mean? Oh, like
Aldous Hodge
he's a
6'3",
big tall,
240 pound, strong dude. Like that, he's a big dude, and can't just recast T'Challa and be like, hey, I'm strong now, and now I'm super T'Challa. Like he could
have lost weight. He gained a lot of weight for the Hawkeye thing. He could have lost.
Aldous Hodge is getting bigger, and what's the TV show?
Was it Underground?
What TV shows in?
What's that TV show? Leverage.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Leverage is amazing.
Brian is a big TV guy. If there's a TV show, Brian watched it.
I watch it all.
Yeah. So we've been going on for a little bit over 2 hours. There's one last thing I want to talk about. We already kind of talked about it a little bit. I want to know how everyone felt about little T'Challa Jr., little TJ, we've been calling him. He's been getting a lot of hate on Twitter. People have been calling him T'Charlie a lot, I've seen, which is kind of funny.
What?
Yeah, T'Charlie. Because it's not, it's kind of like back to that. It's not really T'Challa. It's a different version of him. So therefore, you're trying to have somebody, a new character, try to play the same role. So they're calling him like T'Charlie instead of T'Challa. It's kind of funny, but a little silly. Same thing with like where they're like, that's not my Luke. They're like, oh, that's Jake Skywalker. Something along those lines. Yeah. So, but there's a lot of people that like it, that think it's a good move, that think it's respectful and it's going to move the story forward. So I'm sure all of us have different thoughts about that one, but we'll start off with Zach. Has he been? Been going
I don't like it.
Really? Okay.
No,
really?
No,
I thought you were gonna like it.
No, because remember, I'm not on the recast T'Challa. I don't want a T'Challa Jr. If he could be the Young Avengers.
So you just completely out.
I was so enamored by Shuri and her arc, Letitia Wright's performance and how she stepped into that main character role, that and just her battle between like science and religion and all that. And her battle be like, now I want to be a little bit noble like my brother, but I think I need a little Killmonger for Wakanda to survive. I'm so enamored by that journey that she can go on. I don't want the looming, we're going to replace you with this little kid eventually. If you're not going to recast him, don't try to make a different version of him. Because now the recast T'Challa people are going to be shouting for the next 7 years, and I'm going to be so annoyed.
It doesn't matter. Letitia Wright's not coming back.
I don't think that's true.
She's not coming back, so it doesn't even matter. And
I don't think that's true. I think she's coming back.
I don't think Disney wants her. Disney don't want her.
They're not going to bring her.
She's
not. I think this movie with her face as the main character on the poster makes over $800 million. They're gonna like, yeah,
it's gonna make $800
I know
million
you said stuff about the vaccine, but
it's also they cost them money with filming. It cost them. There's a lot of things that she's not doing. Yeah, but she's not known to do that. You can't be that yet. And I just disagree. I don't think she did a great job at all.
Really?
I don't think
I'm there with you.
Wow.
Honestly, she was okay. She was okay.
Just okay. And I really wanted her. I was not negative on her at all. I really wanted her to be great. Because I thought they didn't give her more maturity. I think that part of the thing was she was a child in the first one, and she was going to learn, even have an arc towards this, and she really didn't. And she just made a decision at the end. But the maturity never came out. It never came from that. And here's my biggest problem, honestly. It's probably that we have 60 years of T'Challa being Black Panther, and there's 4 comics of Shuri being Black Panther. And that's probably the character thing. But I don't think Letitia Wright herself did. And I think it's because of all the negative stuff that she got from Disney. I think her as an actress herself is great. I like her. But I think that she didn't put her all into it because I feel like she had all that negativity from Disney. I don't think she wants to do it. I don't know if she wants to deal with this again.
I didn't get that watching it. I didn't get that feeling at all. Not even a little bit.
I didn't get that either. What negativity did she get?
Because she didn't take the COVID shots.
There are a bunch of rumor mills about the COVID stuff, but she's never came out and said it, and none of her cast members came out and said it. So that's a null factor.
They keep it, and they're very good with keeping stuff together. But Disney has,
I don't think so. Jeremy Renner beat his wife, and they still has him as Hawkeye. He's probably going to be the next Avengers and sacrifice himself. If he could beat his wife and almost hurt his kid, I think she's going to be fine.
I think that's the double standard that they keep there. I think that's part of what Disney is.
That's going to be a huge problem for me if that's a double standard there, because she's a young Black woman that just did a fantastic job, and you keep this old white dude who did something way worse than what she did.
She didn't do anything that bad. I just don't think that I don't think she did.
Well, the reports of her,
she didn't play the game.
Not to it's okay if you feel like you don't want to take the vaccine, but if you're trying to convince your cast members and all this other stuff, that's where I have a problem.
They had to stop filming 3 times, so that's the thing. And then
just because of her,
so that's the bad part.
So once again, Disney cares about money. I'm less worried about the other stuff.
Well, that's why if it does make $1 billion, which it probably will, which I see that. But I
don't think
just real quick,
not Disney. I think she's not going to want to come back.
So you think Black Panther 3? She's not going to be in it, or Kang Dynasty,
or I think they're going to do the Wakanda Forever. I think they're going to take a break, like we originally thought they were going to do.
After the show,
they might have the young TJ and the Young Avengers or something like that.
We need to have Charlie come up to
to Charlie.
Yeah.
Need to get him up to that 18, 19.
At least 18,
18. Yeah, that's what I think you can get 12 years. So that's really 6 to 8 years. You can go through all that before Kang Dynasty or after. Bring him back into Kang Dynasty and say that it's been 18 or been 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Kang Dynasty is 2 years from now. I don't think they can do that fast.
They could just speed it up in the MCU.
Go into the quantum zone.
Whatever. They can do whatever the hell they want.
They're gonna do something stupid. They're gonna do something stupid because by Secret Wars he has to be there
because he's
gonna be Black Panther.
I really don't think. I think it's gonna be Shuri. I think Shuri's gonna be the Black Panther in the Avengers movie. And young.
I'd be interested if they do, but I don't think she's gonna do it.
I don't think she.
Let's talk about so much. Who else? What everybody else feels about?
Well, yeah. What about you? What about you, Dane? Was bringing around that way.
Well, I actually go along with Zach. I think she did a great job. I mean, I thought she rose to the occasion, and there was some maturity issue early in the movie, but I thought you kind of saw her character arc as the entire story went along, and she went from more simplistic at the beginning to much more complicated in the end, and I think they were trying to prove a point there where when she took the flower and went into the ancestral plane, that it wasn't something simplistic. It was actually a super. I mean, I don't know about you guys. That was a big surprise, right? That he came back and basically lent him, gave her whatever you want to call it, advice that it's time to turn up the violence. You can't keep being the protector here. We need to
a warrior.
Go after the other country and go on the offense. So yeah, I thought she did a good job. Like I said, I didn't hear about any of this other stuff, but I think they invested a lot in her character for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she basically was in every single scene, and some of my favorite scenes was the interaction between her and the general.
Mm-hmm.
Okoye. Them were almost like the humorous part in the entire movie, but I thought she did a great job. So
yeah. What about the T'Challa Jr. Little TJ? What do you feel about him?
About that. Well, I thought that was a good surprise. I mean, obviously, when she showed up with him, and JR said the exact same thing to me at the theater, like, I knew it. But So yeah, I thought that was fine. I mean, this is the way character art changes work over movies. You know, you get the ups and downs, and they needed this movie to kind of even out the playing field from T'Challa, and then the next movie is going to bring Chadwick Boseman. The next movie is going to be introducing a new T'Challa, because yeah, it's a great character, and you definitely do not want to just shut off that storyline with this single movie. So
yeah,
I was fine with him. Yeah, I thought that was
cool.
Yeah.
What about you, JR? So, well, since we're talking about Shuri and TJ.
Yeah. I thought T'Challa Jr. was a really cute kid in real life, right? He kind of warmed my heart just watching him talk. So I kind of predicted that they would go down this route, that there would be a T'Challa Jr. I think going to Shuri, I think she did a great job. Going forward, who do I want to see as Black Panther? I just watched 10 episodes of House of Dragons, so when they revealed young T'Challa to her, I could almost see her mind thinking, oh, well, I'm going to have to move my forces against you. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be a claim to the throne later on down in life. But no, I mean, but it does kind of make you wonder, like, okay, if this is the son of T'Challa and she's the sister of T'Challa, when he becomes a man, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? What is the line of succession? Was that ever established? Once again, I got House of Dragons in my mind, but I was thinking this.
Nakia said it. He's the rightful heir to the throne.
Yeah, and she
said it in the post-credit scene.
You're going to have,
she doesn't want to be queen
right now.
Which, I mean, that might be a bigger issue too. I don't know.
I think M'Baku, once you introduce it, he's going. If he ever does go to Wakanda and learn all the stuff and everything, M'Baku's probably going to see him as more of an heir and less of a challenge.
Yeah.
Right.
Then real quick for me, I didn't mind Shuri in this film. I don't think she has the acting chops to carry a film. That's just for me. I don't think she's good enough. For me, who should have been Black Panther is Nakia. It would have made more sense. She's already a badass. She's like this international spy killer kind of person. And doing the whole TJ thing, it would have made more sense her passing down the mantle to her son.
She's like a detective. She tracked down Shuri like that. Oh, I found her. She's in the cave right here.
And I think Lupita is a far superior actor than Letitia Wright. I think she's just, I agree with that. She's great. I love Lupita. I don't know. That's just me. I just don't think Letitia Wright is good enough to carry a film.
Not bad. She's just not strong. Bad. Her presence doesn't carry the movie. I don't know if that's what I really mean.
Yeah. As I said, I mean, she was a secondary character in her own story. She wasn't the main character of the story. She wasn't, to me. But I mean that could be the writing or whatever. But her acting was good in it. But when it's just her by herself, it's not going to happen. And if they decide to keep her and she does all the stuff that T'Challa's supposed to do, that I can see that pissing off a lot of people. Imagine when Storm joins the picture soon.
That's what I was gonna say.
TJ, couple.
You are gonna get so many people pissed off. I mean, even if you're cool with it or not, but it's also like
about that. But it's the fact that the T'Challa Storm thing and their son becomes like the greatest, one of the most strongest characters ever. But even though that's really a variant, but
I don't like the T'Challa Storm relationship.
But
I mean,
I'm glad
I got that one over here too. I got that one too.
Right?
Curve.
But there's in the run.
You need to put a little bit more muscle on to achieve that, right?
But there's only 4 comic books with her as
Shuri's her own character now. Yeah. Well, Shuri is not even Black Panther in the current comic book run. Like she died. I could be wrong. She died. She came back.
She becomes,
and she's got like powers, like superpowers, kind of shit. Which is kind of cool. But yeah, she's her own
a little bit. But she becomes this goddess, this unbelievable like being. Like she is awesome in her own right.
Yeah. So I mean, you could do that, man. I mean, but I don't know. I always like Black Panther. I thought he was always super cool. But doing the whole TJ thing, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I don't hate it right off the bat. I kind of disagree with it. But if this is the route you're gonna go, I think I've seen other people talk about this as well. Is like, then you need to make this the thing. If this is the way you're gonna go, then don't just be a one-off. Like, oh, hey, he's there, and then you never see him again. You know.
Yeah.
But for me, I also thought that character was a disrespect to T'Challa. So you're telling me the man who learned this lesson in the first one, and he went to the ancestral plane, bitched out his dad about keeping secrets. He's gonna go keep a secret away from his sister and all that.
Doesn't make sense, really.
I don't get it. And then
he would keep it a secret.
How never in history has it ever like really worked out too well where you're like, oh, hey, he's next in line to rule, but we're going to keep him away from everything. So when it's his time to rule, he's not going to know the country's not going to know him. He's not going to be part of the country. He's Haitian right now. He's Haitian.
He's too soft.
Like, yeah. So I mean, we're going to get a Haiti Black Panther. I don't know. You know, so it's like, you can't expect somebody to be
real quick, the Haitian thing. So this is why representation matters. So I went with one of my friends who's Haitian, and she was kind of like laying down, and she looked kind of bored. And then when they went to Haiti, I never seen her lights open up like that. Like her eyes, like just lit up, and she was so excited because she's never seen her country represented in a blockbuster before. And I thought that was amazing. Even though she hated how Nakia spoke, she said her Creole was terrible, but but she just loved the representation, how it looked like how it was supposed to look. But I just wanted to say that real quick. Like representation matters.
I would say,
100%.
Not Haitian. She's an African who went to Haiti. So
if she's a spy, it's supposed to do different accents and stuff. That was not very convincing.
I mean, she did.
Haitian.
She spoke Spanish. She spoke. That's not Spanish. Was it Portuguese? I think, or something like that. You know. I mean, I think she actually considered herself Mexican because I think she's Mexican and French. I believe. Lupita Nyong'o. Yeah. She considers herself like Hispanic as well, so she's kind of cool.
She's Afro Latino. Cool.
Yeah, Afro Latino. So, but I think she like lived in France for a long time, so she's like really good with French too. I might be a little bit wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it is.
Yeah, Kenyan Mexican.
Yeah, Kenyan Mexican. There you go.
Yeah, so.
Kenyan Mexican. So yeah. So I don't know. How I feel about her and TJ. I just hope they nurture this idea and it actually becomes something positive. So I'm not gonna sit here and hate it, like a lot of these other people are doing, but it needs to be something. If it doesn't be something, then you just disrespected T'Challa for no reason. You should have just left it out.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. If that's it, they just show that and then it never leads anywhere. Oh, forget it. Why even show it then in the first place?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Agree.
Exactly. What about you, Brian?
So I predicted that they were going to have a baby and they named T'Challa almost 2 years ago. Like, as soon as stuff happened, I said, that's what they're going to do. They're not going to recast him. I want you to recast, but they're going to do this. And I can have a feeling about what the direction I want them to go in and still look at this and say, this is what they're going to do. And I could be okay as long as they do it the right way. So as far as TJ goes, I saw it. I knew it was coming. So I wasn't like angry, like, oh, grab your pitchfork, let's go do it. Like, okay, I knew this was going to happen. I saw it coming a mile away. And okay, and as long as they pay proper respect to it, it's not recasting. I don't care. He's not the same character. He's not. No. But you can use him to have the same stories. Because you're going to have to recast this TJ anyway, because he's going to be too young. So by the time Secret Wars comes out and by the time they introduce X-Men, he's going to be old enough to actually go through these stories. And because of that, that's going to be fine. So they're going to recast TJ instead of recasting T'Challa. And it is what it is.
I guess it's better for Coogler. He's like, I can't see anybody playing T'Challa. but I can see somebody playing T'Challa Jr. who's like,
someone else could do this. They're going to recast it. They're going to have to bring someone else in who's older and find someone with some good acting.
All this Hodge.
You know,
I wouldn't mind. I mean, you never know what's going on with DC. DC might just like completely restart, and Marvel may like.
They're gonna restart like this 4 more times in the next 3 years. So that's just what's going to happen.
Hey, Tank,
yes,
can
sir.
I just ask everybody one little thing that I didn't like in the movie, and I wanted to hear what everybody else thought. I haven't even brought this up yet, but I didn't like the suits that Shuri made Okoye and the Dora Milaje.
Oh, the Midnight Angels.
I hated that. I was like, I don't know why. You just didn't get to see their faces when they're fighting, and I liked their outfits that they naturally wear, and I just didn't like these blue alien-looking suits they were wearing. So, does anybody? I mean, nobody. It's not a big deal. It's just a very minor issue, but I wanted to voice that.
For me, mine's real quick. It looked better in the comic books.
Yeah.
And I thought. Yeah, I think they thought they was going to translate better, but that's just for me. I don't know what you guys think.
Hard to try to make. It was too hard, and they did the best they could, and they put their best foot forward. And I was like, me complaining about so much, I just didn't want to complain about something else. It's like
I know it's very small, very small.
But I understood, it's going to be like they didn't want to be exactly like an Iron Man suit because that's how Riri Williams' suit's going to end up looking. So it's a little bit mix up between all of them. So I just accept it.
Yeah, it didn't ruin the film.
Yeah.
What about?
But I do agree that for some reason it reminded me of like some kind of fish face.
It did.
Yeah,
it did.
It looked like a blue. It looked like
Blue Beetle.
Manta in DC. You know who Manta is in DC? The Aquaman.
He looked like Manta.
Black Manta.
Yeah,
it did.
It looked like the Chibi Chaos people from Sonic, the blue people.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Exactly. What I thought about the it does look better in the comics. It's gonna look better in future films when they hear the feedback. My only issue with the costume in this movie is just that Riri Williams was there and it was too similar. That's my only issue. I didn't really care how it looked or anything. I just knew they needed to fight the stronger people. But I just didn't like that. Riri Williams has a suit. She just got this new suit, and then 2 other people get 2 new suits. It was just like, and they could fly and shoot projectiles. I'm like, why is Riri special?
Right.
She did it herself.
Yeah, sure. He just made 2, without even trying. Yeah.
But then Shuri says, but got to return that suit. Got to get that back to the.
Can't bring that vibranium around. Hell no. Keep that shit right here, Wakanda.
Yeah. Like, I like you, but no souvenirs.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, makes sense because her show is coming up sometime next year, I believe. So you got to have her start from scrap, start from the bottom again and stuff like that. So
as long as it's not made out of vibranium, no one will care.
Yeah, well, we'll see. She's gonna tear apart the car. The car is gonna be rebuilt with vibranium, and she's gonna figure it out, and then she's gonna tear apart the car, and there you go.
And chitty bang bang.
There you go. She just flies the car. It's like a transformer. She jumps in it and it like transforms into an armor.
Right.
Bumblebee.
Oh, yeah, that'll be horrible. But I don't know. Anything else? Been going on for a little while now. Probably like 2 hours with our segment.
You get your Black Panther popcorn bucket? Did you get one, Brian? Yeah, baby. Yeah, we got one too.
This is nice.
I get everything. They're like, hey, you want this little hammer? I'm like, sure. It's only $25.
But I gotta say, this one's actually impressive. It's not plastic; it's real tin. I mean, this is.
It's got light in it.
Yeah, it lights up.
It lights up.
$100 on eBay.
$100?
Yeah.
Wow.
It actually looks really good, honestly.
80.
we were standing in line with a bunch of other people, and they were looking at it and like, let me just check what the price is right now on eBay, and it was like $100.
Wow.
Like everybody around us, like, well, I'm getting one.
Yeah, like I'll take two.
You want mine? Comment,
Yeah, I know.
comment on
You'll
this
get
video. Hit me up. You can have it real quick.
I was getting the guy at the ticker taker guy's like, you know what? I'm not really sure I'm supposed to sell you a separate popcorn. I'm supposed to put the popcorn in here. I'm like, please don't. What's the point of that? Just give me the other thing. But he still had to put it in the bucket, in the can. Like, you know how ruined that would be if you got butter all in there and everything?
Yeah.
But anyway,
They get all rusty.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There are some of the other stuff they were selling online for like the whole statue of Black Panther. You know, I thought that looked pretty cool. But it was like a couple $100, I think, something like that.
Yeah, $100.
But, yeah. So
but the Shuri Black Panther?
No, of course not.
Oh, the other one. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. You're sure. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, I don't want to get into that now because that's a whole nother argument.
Wait.
Yeah, but
two, right?
What's that?
We're done at 2.
Yeah. At this rate, yeah, because there's still some other issues. I'm sure for the next couple of weeks we're gonna probably talk. I want to get some other people in here as well. So you guys, if you always want to come in and talk about this or whatever, you guys always have an open invitation to jump in and join it. If we're in the middle of a review and you guys want to jump in, by all means, just send me a DM. Like, yeah, and I'll let you guys know. So you guys are
my
welcome.
favorite part about this whole thing is that me and Tank have opinions, but I like hearing other people's opinions. Even if it's not what I believe.
Yeah,
I think it's valid in itself. You know, like just having an opinion is just valid in that. And just because I think one thing doesn't mean that's what the truth is. That's just what it's for me. And hearing everyone else's, I think you need to respect everybody else's viewpoint. And that's the biggest thing. And I wish that all the conversations would take place that way, with that in mind. I respect where you're coming from, and I want you to respect where I'm coming from and understand the way we see these things. And, you know, if everyone was able to do that, a lot of this will go, a lot of this tension will go away. And everyone will understand, like, you know, we're all going one direction. Marvel's the one that controls it. You don't control anything. You can just voice your opinion and then go from there.
Yeah. And they said in a recent Namor interview with E-Man movie review, Nate Moore said, he goes, let us know what you think. So they literally want us to talk about this, and they want to hear the criticism, they want to hear the critiques, the good stuff, the bad stuff. So, you know, I mean, Marvel is a company that they might not respond to you, but they're listening. They're listening. You know,
the one thing Marvel has over DC is the fact that when they fumble the bag, they don't get into a crisis.
Yeah.
They just like, okay, we'll get it on the next one.
It's exactly what they do
all the time. Like, we're gonna get it on the next one. This movie made $900 million, so yeah, you guys have problems with it, but we'll fix it in the next one to make another $900 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Thor: Love and Thunder made $900 million. I have huge issues with that movie, but it's almost made $1 billion. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna tell Taika, like, calm down with the
it was just too much Taika.
The three-way jokes with hammers next time. Like,
right.
Speaking
it was
of,
a love story, really, right?
I got my Thor hammer. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's the wrong Thor from Ragnarok.
That's
I
from God of War. Yeah. So
how heavy is that thing?
God of War.
It's got some weight to it. I was surprised.
Your wrist is like bending. Like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, it's got a lot of weight to it. Yeah, that's just like
wrist a little tired.
Yeah, everything's sitting right next to me. Like, I was playing the game the other day, just saying like this. I'm like, okay, like this. It's awesome. I love it.
You get some triceps worked in there.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah. They're listening. Which I appreciate, but you know, I'll probably, unless anybody else got anything before I close this out. Nothing. Last words. No.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
For having me again.
Yeah. So, like, you know, a little bit like what Brian said. I think we're all friends here. We all have different opinions. That's fine. This is art at the end of the day. It's a movie, and you can say, it's art because we all see the same thing, and we all have different thoughts on it, which is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Like even right out of the theater, me and my girlfriend were talking. It was just like, wait, did we see the same thing? Because you're thinking this and I'm thinking that. I was like, so this is how it is. It's just how you perceive it. Doesn't mean anybody's bad. I don't blame any of the people for not giving me recast. Like you said, like Brian said, they made this for themselves, which is fine. They didn't do out anywhere from hate. It was everything from this movie was made from love. It was made from love, and it's really upsetting to see the fan base at each other's throats because they disagree with some of the things that happen. So for me, I think if people were a little bit more cool, like, hey, I get why you want to recast, or I get why you don't want to recast, but it's not like that. It's very, you're wrong, I'm right, and then I'm gonna kill you. So I don't agree with that. But like Brian said, I appreciate you guys because I know you guys had different views, which is one reason why we wanted all you guys on with us. Because me and Brian can scream at each other in our echo chamber all day, which we do very often sometimes.
On and off screen, we just doing it.
Yeah. So we definitely wanted some fresh takes on it, but we're gonna end with you guys telling us what your channels are. So we got Zach Attack Reviews and the Cult Lords. So go ahead, Zach. Let us know. Let these guys know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and obviously YouTube. Subscribe to Zach Attack Reviews. I break down the good and the bad of movies, television shows, rank movies. I do trailer reactions. I do focus on like science fiction, pop culture, but I also love indie movies from like A24, Neon, and things like that. So if you have that kind of taste and flavor for movies and television, follow me.
Cool. And then we also got JR and Dane from the Cult Lords. What are you guys' channel mostly about? JR, you're the unofficial speaker.
Okay, we are the Cult Lords, right, Dane? And we do that a lot with Cult Lords. We do movie reviews, trailer reactions, talk a lot about comic books, pop culture, and we always try to inject humor into our trailer reactions and movie reviews. Sometimes we strike out on that. Sometimes we hit it out of the park. So it's a hit or miss with us, but we think that you'll have fun watching us as we journey through this. And sometimes we're funny and sometimes we're not, but we also do provide our opinions on these movies and trailers. So
yeah. So
they do a good job too, and they do skits, and it's real funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Those things do take effort.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's both of your guys' channel. Love, Zach's takes, your guys' takes, the comedy you guys do. So we're all under 1,000 subscribers. If we can all hit 1,000, go to each channel, hit that sub button, go to Zach, go to Colt, and go to Spoiler Kings. And
I was saying to JR, we need to have a convention of all under 1,000 people.
Just walk to each other.
Set up.
There's going to be a lot of people there. We're gonna have to charge for that because it's gonna be like 30,000 people. Like, help me out.
Hey, when you gotta charge, we gotta say you must subscribe to everybody else that's here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And watch. Don't be a dead subscriber.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, we appreciate if you guys go check everyone out. That's kind of one of the points is, support, small channels, support small channels. So I'm a big, advocate for that. I like that.
But in there, huh?
Yeah, he's been here. He's just keep bugging me. He's got a haircut. So now he's like
sassy.
Nice. Yeah, sassy. Yeah. He's been here like the whole time. It's annoying. I'm like, he keeps hitting the keyboard and stuff. I'm like, but that is
what do you say about T'Challa?
Yeah. But we got one last comment and then we'll close it out. The movie is based on a comic book. Sadly, a death happened. Everything changed, and the director did what he could make it work. You can't please everyone. That last line is the motto of this movie. You can't please everyone.
Yeah.
But That's what it is. But that is it from us, from Spoiler Kings here with Zach, Tax, and the Cult Lords. Appreciate everyone coming in, stopping by. Diana came in. I don't know if I showed that.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, she said that. Diana. Then we got Derpy.
I would agree.
Yeah. With them. So we appreciate everybody coming in, saying hi. And you know what? I love how the Cult Lords always sign out on their channels. So why don't we get a little bit of that? Let me get him up here.
Really? You're gonna put me on the spot, huh?
Put you on the spot, man. So thank you, everyone. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, everybody. Peace out.